Hi, ladies. This is our Monday night conference call because I'm not able to be on the call tonight because I have another obligation this evening. So I thought what I would do this afternoon is, it's about 4 o'clock and I'll put this in the group later, is go ahead and do your coaching call by video. So tonight what I wanted to talk to you about is commitment versus dabbling. I also want to talk to you about inside health, and how it shows up on the outside. So that kind of has to do with the committing and dabbling. And the reason I wanted to talk about this subject, and I know that we've had some conference calls on emotional eating and sabotage and not being able to be consistent with our program. And so I'm still across the board, not just in this group, but through the years of coaching people, whether it be with isogenics or other goals that they're trying to achieve in their life. This is pretty much, I hear this a lot across the board. And so I think it's important for you to be successful with your 16-week challenge, this one, or if you do another one and continue, with your isogenics lifestyle and the goals that you have to make changes, that it's important to understand why this happens to us and why we dabble when we want to make a commitment and don't stick to our goals and sabotage and go back to old familiar behaviors and do things that we really don't want to do, and then we feel bad about ourselves. And so this is some of the stuff that I'm trained in to coach and that I help primarily mostly women with. So let's talk about that for a minute and see if you can relate and how this applies to you. And I'm going to get really honest with you. Those of you that know me well, or those of you who have worked with me one-on-one, know that I just straight shoot off the hip and I don't hold anything back. I'm pretty direct, but I'm direct in love because I think it's so important for me to be authentic and for me to be honest with you and to get you guys to understand and to see and to take responsibility at times that you don't do and follow through and dabble with what you really want to do. So in talking about that, let's talk about dabbling instead of commitment, because most people, when they start on something like this, they're very excited. We write out our goals. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to exercise. This is the amount of weight I want to lose. This is the program I'm going to go on, the food I'm going to go on, and I've got a plan. The problem with people getting all excited, which is great, that's fine to get all excited when we're starting something new, and this can be anything that we're starting, wanting to start a new business, wanting to do this 16-week challenge, wanting to change a job. It can be anything that we have a goal about. And so one of the things that I work with people is called GAP. It's a program I put together, GAP, and what it stands for is a goal action plan. And so as a coach, my job is to help people figure out what their goals are with their health, with their emotions, spiritually, relationships, losing weight, whatever that is, for their health and wellness, and then to help them implement an action plan to reach those goals. Because most people that have goals never have an action plan of how they're going to reach those goals. And that's a very common thing too. They have a goal to lose this much weight. They have a goal to start a new business. They have a goal to end an unhealthy relationship or make a move or whatever it is, but they don't implement an action plan. And so that's what this group has been about, with me trying to help you implement some action plans. So let's say that you have all these goals that you want to reach on your 16 weeks, and we've been trying to implement an action plan, but even with your action plan that you've had, you've either not written them down, you've gotten sidetracked and sabotaged and not stuck with your action plan even. This is where accountability comes in. That's why in the group, those of you that are really sharing, your heart and where you're messing up and where your weaknesses are, this is about support. I wanted you guys to be able to support each other in this group, and let me support you too. Because people that have a goal and implement an action plan, a gap plan for their goals, have more success also when they have accountability, when they are held accountable. That's why people stay in Weight Watchers forever and Jenny Craig forever, even though those things aren't that healthy. They have accountability, they have support. So it's very important when we are implementing goals and an action plan that we do have a support system. So let's talk about, I wanted to talk tonight, this afternoon with you also about inside health and how this works in our group and what we're doing, pertaining to you guys. We're going to really focus on what's going on here with you guys. And so when people have goals and an action plan to get healthier, so they're going to change what they're eating. They're going to omit some things. They're going to stop eating, sugar and flour, and pay attention to things they binge on and that are trigger foods for them. They start some type of an exercise program. They try to have balance, in their life with quiet time and nurturing and meditation, and they want to implement a healthier lifestyle. They want to try to do things and change their bodies, change their health, change how they're feeling. They want their energy to come up. They want to sleep better. They want their skin to look better. And, our group is about healthy aging, that we want to age gracefully and in a healthy way. And what that means is not only working on the outside, not only about losing the inches, getting down to, thinner bodies and smaller size clothes. That feels awesome. Not only just exercise, though, and getting our energy up and saying, oh my gosh, I feel so good because I've started implementing some exercise and I have an action plan for how that's going to work. Those are all great things, and that's what Isabody is about making changes, but it's with our bodies and our health. But the inside, when we talk about mind-body connection, and I truly believe as a holistic wellness coach, I've seen it, I believe it, there's research, there's statistics, there's all kinds of proof about mind-body connection. So when we talk about mind-body connection, that the mind and the body are one. So when we talk about commitment and dabbling and why people just can dabble, they make a commitment and then they start dabbling with their commitment and they're not following through on their action plan, we tend to live, all of us in the world, we tend to live subconsciously. We tend to live from our subconscious mind. We think we're living consciously. We think we're saying, okay, today I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to exercise at this time. I'm going to stick to my plan. I'm going to really nurture and take care of myself. We consciously tell ourselves that and think that. Yet it's our subconscious that sometimes can help sabotage and trip us up, and that's where our belief system is. And our subconscious mind and our body are one in the same. So let me explain that for those of you who aren't familiar with that a little bit further. When we talk about removing toxins with our Isogenics Cleanse for Life, and we're doing our cleanse and we're wanting toxins to come out of the body, we also need to not just pay attention to the toxins that are in our body physically and in our organs and in our blood and from toxic foods in our environment, but we also have to pay attention to toxic emotions, toxic thoughts. Thoughts become things. We think at first, then the feeling comes from the thought, and then the action comes, or the sabotage. So it's really, really important for us to pay attention to our thoughts and how we feel when we're thinking something, because that's the key. That's your answers of your subconscious and how you don't follow through, or maybe how you sabotage, or you stick to your program one day and maybe 2 days later you're not sticking to it, or you did real good one week and then the weekend you blew it and the next week you blew it, or you say I'm just too busy, and those types of things. So we need to really, to be healthy, it's about working on the inside also. And a lot of you know, I've shared on the calls, or if you've worked with me before, you know that's why the name of my business is Inside Out Wellness, because I was one of those women for years, that tried everything on the outside to fix myself on the inside. And I used bodybuilding, I used my looks, I used that my family looked like a perfect little American family, my home, I used religion, I used, makeup, I used, dressing, perfectly, whatever we'd use, whatever we want to do that we use on the outside, relationships to help us to feel whole on the inside. And so, my journey, if you've never heard my life story, my testimony, you can listen on my website, the podcast. It's about 55 minutes long. I go through my whole story about how I am doing what I do today and how I tried everything on the outside, and yet things wouldn't last, or it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't stick because I had a lot of inside work to do, and I would sabotage, and I was not working on myself subconsciously in my belief systems about myself. And so I didn't have good self-love. I didn't have good self-worth. I didn't have confidence about myself. I was always putting everybody else's needs first, people-pleasing, and also using superachiever and working a lot of hours and trying to prove my worth in that way. And some of you may be doing that. So let's talk about some of the toxic emotions that we can have that are in our subconscious that we sabotage. And the first one I want to talk about is shame. And so many women come from shame, root of shame. We grow up in it, and it doesn't mean that we were shame, like shame on you. But it comes from in growing up in an environment where maybe we weren't made to feel worthy, or maybe we were given the message that you do get your worth from the outside, that from working hard, making money, being religious, having a good man, all those things on the outside. Maybe we were taught that was important in life. Maybe you weren't allowed to really share your emotions and your feelings growing up. Maybe you grew up in dysfunction, as I did. But the feeling of shame, and this is so prominent with women, shame is not the same as guilt. You feel guilty about something. Shame is an overall underlying feeling of, I just don't quite feel good enough. I don't quite feel like I measure up, that no matter what I do, I just keep missing the boat. I'm just not quite there. I'm not quite enough. And that's something that we tell ourselves subconsciously. And so when we have that emotion of shame and feeling not good enough, that affects our worth and empowerment as a woman. It helps. We don't feel confident. Our self-esteem isn't there. We're criticize ourselves all the time. We're not happy with our bodies. We're not happy how we look. We're not, we just don't feel good enough. So everybody else is better than us. And so that can be, when we have a feeling of shame, some of the subtle ways that we act that out, because we do act out our belief systems, and we do act out our root belief system in our subconscious. And so some of those ways we act out shame and feeling not good enough is that we sabotage. And subconsciously sabotaging is a way to prove to us that belief system is true. Yes, we're not quite good enough, so we sabotage. And it's not something we think of consciously, but it is subconscious. So we have a plan, we have an action plan, we have goals, but then we will blow it. We'll blow it by eating something bad. We'll blow it by saying, forget it, I'm not going to exercise this week. We blow it by getting too busy at work, and we put work before us. And that is a form of shame. That is a form of not good enough, because when you really love yourself and you really care and put yourself number one, your health, that your health is number one, that taking care of yourself and your needs come first, so you're able to be more whole to give to others and help others. It has to start with you first. So when we don't do that and we say, oh, I'll stay those extra hours at work, or I'll do that extra work, or yes, I'll be on that committee, or yes, I'll do this for you, or yes, oh, my kids, I'm running my kids here, I'm running my kids there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working all these hours, I don't have time to take care of myself. Those are all excuses. And they all come from the root of shame and feeling not good enough. It's because really we're not loving on ourselves. When we are not continuing 80% of the time, 85% of the time to treat our bodies right, to eat healthy, to nurture ourselves, to love ourselves, to exercise, to do the things that we need to do to stay strong and positive and healthy for our families and our loved ones, but for ourselves first, that's a lack of self-love. And I tell clients, even when you go to the grocery to buy your organic foods and your healthy foods, that can be like a love act that you do for yourself, that you're mindfully in there picking out these beautiful, colorful foods that you want, being particular about it, being particular about the meats that you're picking out. If you don't see what you want, asking the butcher, can you go see if you can get this for me, and really making it an act of self-love that you are putting these wonderful, healthy foods in your body to nourish yourself because you love yourself. So shame and not good enough is a toxic emotion that can really help us or cause us to sabotage and not follow through on things. Another emotion can be fear, that we're afraid that we'll fail, that we're afraid that we can't do it, and so we sabotage. Fear of what if I don't make it? What if I don't reach my goals? And so we might mess up a little bit, and then we say we're afraid that we can't follow through. So fear can be something. A lot of women are fear-based. Another can be unresolved anger, unresolved resentment that is from years back, or it could be from today, that you have a lot of anger and resentment towards someone or a situation, or it could be something that happened a long, long time ago and is still in the cells of your body. I have this book that I love. It's an old book, and it's called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And the book, it talks about how certain emotions get into the cells of our bodies, and they do not leave those cells. And I believe with every disease, there is a huge emotional component to that disease, because disease is dis-ease in the body. And so, they are even now medically finding that people with cancer and other diseases, have unresolved anger and resentment and hidden swallowed grief and sorrow that they never dealt with. And those things really affect our body and keep us from growing on the inside, keep us from becoming empowered, keeping us from being connected to spirit. So we really, really do need to deal with what's going on with us on the inside. If you're having feelings of not good enough, you're having feelings that you just don't like yourself, or you just are so mad and angry and disappointed in yourself that you just can't seem to follow through, you just can't seem to get this, then those are things I want you, I want to challenge you, a call to action today, to look at those things, own them, take responsibility for them, and start addressing them, start working with them. One good way to do that is with journaling, getting out in nature, really going inside. So many of us stay so busy and stay in our head with that chatter in the head and just go, staying busy. And a lot of that is to avoid really looking at ourselves honestly, dealing with what's going on. Because when you really want to get healthy inside and out, when you want to get healthy emotionally, when you want to get healthy physically, when you want to get healthy spiritually, because we are a three-part being. We are a mind, emotions, we are spirit, we have a spirit, and we have a physical body. And when you aren't healthy in one of those areas, when you're really off in one of those areas, it affects everything else. So think about it. If you do not feel good physically, maybe you've been overweight, maybe you've had some ailments health-wise, let's say, whatever that is, and you just haven't felt good physically. When you don't feel good physically, think about how you feel emotionally. You feel kind of down, you feel kind of blah, you might feel depressed, you have no energy, maybe you want to sleep a lot because you're not feeling good physically. So when we are not healthy physically, it does affect us emotionally. When we are not healthy emotionally, when we have these feelings of low self-worth and low self-esteem or depression or anger or shame or fear or sadness, sadness can be huge too, unresolved sadness, then that also can affect you physically because you don't feel like exercising. You don't feel like eating right. You want comfort food when you feel bad emotionally. So our emotional state affects us physically. And then our spirit is our higher self. And that's the part of us that we want to live. We want the goal to live in higher consciousness because our higher consciousness is our spirit, man. It's our spirit within us that knows what we need and knows that we're valuable, knows we're beautiful, knows that we're confident and we're worthy and we're empowered. And our spirit is what connects with God, with source energy, with spirit. And so we need to also know who we are in God's eyes, in His sight. We need to spend time nourishing our spirit. That can be in nature. That can be in meditation. That can be in prayer. That can be spending time with your angel. You know, there's many ways to nourish our spirit. And when we nourish our spirit, it helps us get in touch with ourselves emotionally. That's when we can go down in here where our feeling center is and really pay attention to what we're feeling. Remember, in one of our calls, we talked about when you're wanting to eat comfort food and you're wanting to sabotage, to pay attention to how you're feeling. What's going on inside? Are you feeling, scared? Are you feeling afraid about something? Are you feeling out of control? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling stressed? And what's going on that you want to go to food to sabotage or to comfort yourself? And knowing some instead strategies to be able to rescue yourself and help yourself work through those emotions. So I want to just really challenge all of you to and encourage you, not just challenge you. I want to support you. I want to inspire you. I want to motivate you to get healthy on the inside and look at some of those things on the inside and look, say, I really want to know, really look at yourself in the mirror in your eyes and say, listen, I want to get to know you. I love you. And I want to know where I don't commit, why I sabotage, why I feel guilty putting myself first, why I don't have that type of self-love. I want to get to the root of that. I want to really heal that. I want to be healthy emotionally. I want to be healthy physically. I want to be healthy spiritually because it is all about balance. And it's not about perfection, guys, at all. It's about that we stay on the journey. And it's not about the pace. We stay on our journey as long we're always growing and getting better and better and better and changing. It's kind of like peeling that onion, just one layer at a time, then the next layer, then the next layer, that we're always trying to grow to higher consciousness and get healthier and healthier and healthier. And that's why I tell people, when they're doing isogenics, it's accumulative. The longer you're on these products, the healthier you get, the more your body changes, and you just have to be really patient about that. And I believe that I brought up to you guys before on a call that a lot of times when people are doing a cleanse, when I'm coaching them, they have an emotional experience because this cleanse, gets so deep into your cells. And I do believe and know that emotions really do hide out. They have an energy to them. They're energy in motion. And when they're not dealt with, they get stuck in the cells of our body. And so when we're cleansing, so often I will have women say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I'm in PMS, but I'm not. Or I just feel so sad, or I feel so angry on this cleanse. And then we'll start addressing some of those emotions that have been not looked at or dealt with, and that the cleanse is starting to bring those things up, which is a good thing because they have to come up to get out. So I want to encourage you that it is safe to look within. The inside creates the outside always. And the healthier we get on the inside dealing with those toxic emotions too, the healthier things will start showing up on the outside, and we will stop sabotaging ourselves so much. So we just have about 6 weeks left to go, guys. Doesn't matter where you're at, just stay on course. you know, nobody has done this perfectly, including me. No, you know, but I've had improvements. I've seen improvements. I've challenged myself. And so don't beat yourself up where you are. Just be happy that you are in this group. You made the commitment to do it. You are using the products. You're doing cleansing. We will be having in October our last 11-day cleanse before our last pictures. And so just be proud of where you are, what you have done, the things you've learned, the new recipes maybe you've made. Maybe you've started exercising in this group that you never did that before. Be proud of the little bitty gains. I don't care how little they are. Every little gain, every little change that you have made to get healthier is important. And so give yourself credit for that and love yourself for that. So I'm going to miss talking to you guys tonight, but we'll have a call next Monday night. I love you. And if you want to continue, I would love for you guys to share some of your issues or maybe feelings or things that you do to sabotage in the group. Because remember, this is a secret group. It's not a closed group. It's a secret group. So that means nobody can see what's in the group except who's in the group. That's it. Nobody on your news feed. Only the women in the group can see it. And I want to thank a lot of you women who have gotten really vulnerable and really honest in there, because let me tell you something. That's how you heal. When you bring things out into the light and you become vulnerable, that's how we heal. Every time you share your truth and you become vulnerable, it dispenses, it kills shame. Because that shame and not feeling good enough keeps us from sharing our truth and being vulnerable and honest with each other. And so, anyway, love you guys, and I will see you in the group and on the call next Monday also. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and if you have any questions or want to share, as I said, share more about it, just put it in the group. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.